I, 28F, and my partner Nathan, 31M, have been together for 5 years and have a 2-month-old daughter. His family's constant demands are pushing me to my breaking point. Some background, sorry for the novel in advance. Our little girl was born after a really difficult pregnancy that ended with an emergency C-section. We're now drowning in about $15,000 of medical debt from all of this. Nathan works 60-plus hours a week as a carpenter contractor to support us and pay down these bills, which means he gets precious little time with our baby. Nathan's family has this lifelong pattern of treating him. His carpentry skills are professional level, and he's always been the reliable one in his family. The thing is, it's always one-sided. When I was pregnant with serious complications, his brother James and wife Melissa, who lived just 10 minutes away, wouldn't even help hold doors when we were getting baby furniture delivered. Not once did they offer to help, despite knowing how touch and go my pregnancy was. The doctor literally told us both our lives were at risk. Not being dramatic, those were his exact words. Meanwhile, Nathan was working overtime, taking care of everything at home, and still getting calls from his family to help with their emergencies. A loose cabinet door is not an emergency, people. I've been struggling with postpartum anxiety since the birth, medicated and in therapy, so I'm handling it. And I'm admittedly super protective of the limited family time we have. Nathan has only had 4 full days with our daughter since she was born 2 months ago because of work and his family's constant needs. Writing this out is making me tear up while I feed her. The way Nathan's family operates has been a source of tension throughout our relationship. Before I was pregnant, it was easier to brush off. Nathan would disappear for a day to help his brother install flooring or spend a Saturday helping his mom with yard work. I'd get annoyed, but let it go because it didn't impact our day-to-day life dramatically. Then I got pregnant, and things got complicated. I developed preeclampsia at 30 weeks, terrifying, and was put on bed rest. Suddenly, Nathan was working his regular 50-plus hours, handling all household duties, taking me to twice-weekly doctor appointments, and still getting calls from his family for help. I remember one specific incident that still makes my blood boil. I was 34 weeks pregnant, severely swollen, and my blood pressure was dangerously high. Nathan's mother called because her garbage disposal was broken. Instead of calling a plumber, she expected Nathan to drive 45 minutes each way to fix it. That evening, when Nathan explained the situation with my health, she said, "Well, she's just lying down anyway, right? She doesn't need you to watch her do that." Fast forward to now. Last night, I overheard Nathan on the phone with his brother. He agreed to build custom nursery furniture for Melissa, who's now 7 months pregnant. When he hung up, I asked when he was planning to do this project. He looked at me and said it would take several weekends to complete. Several weekends means multiple days he should be bonding with our daughter, who barely recognizes him as it is. I reminded him that in the past month alone, he's already helped his mother move furniture, helped James with car repairs, twice, and lent his truck to various family members 3 separate times. Meanwhile, his family has visited our daughter exactly once since she came home from the hospital, and they stayed for just enough time to take pictures for their social media. Nathan looked defeated as he explained that he felt obligated to help, especially since Melissa is pregnant. I tried to keep my cool, pointing out that no one helped us during my pregnancy, despite my life-threatening complications. The conversation got tense when I mentioned how little time he's had with our baby. He still seemed torn about turning down his family. The exchange for building this furniture was that Melissa, who works in accounting, would do our taxes this year. The situation with the nursery furniture is the last issue. Melissa is 7 months pregnant with a healthy pregnancy, thankfully for her. She works full-time as an accountant, and James makes good money in IT. They own a home much larger than our rental and take vacations twice a year. Yet somehow, they can't afford nursery furniture, but can afford multiple shopping sprees for designer maternity clothes based on Melissa's Instagram posts. The agreement was that Nathan would build them custom nursery furniture, crib, changing table, rocking chair, bookshelves, the works. And in exchange, Melissa would do our taxes. This would supposedly save them thousands on furniture and save us maybe $200 on tax preparation? The math doesn't add up, especially considering the materials alone would cost Nathan hundreds, not to mention 4 to 5 full weekend days of labor. After Nathan went to bed, I stayed up researching tax preparation. I gathered all our documents, figured out the online software, and completed our taxes myself. It took hours, but I was determined. In the morning, I showed Nathan the confirmation email that our taxes were successfully filed. The look of relief on his face was immediate, but then concern followed. He said James and Melissa were really counting on him because they can't afford to buy nursery furniture. I suggested that if he truly wanted to help, he could offer a single day of assistance rather than multiple weekends, or maybe help them find affordable alternatives. The conversation ended there because he had to leave for work, but I could tell he was conflicted. Edit. Quick update. Nathan just texted saying James called him, extremely disappointed about the situation. Apparently, Melissa is upset and crying. I'm sitting here feeling my anxiety spike about the conversation that's coming when Nathan gets home. I'm now questioning if I overstepped by making this decision unilaterally, though technically I just handled our taxes, not their furniture. But honestly, I'm exhausted from being the only one who seems concerned about protecting what little family time we have. Our daughter is growing and changing every day, and Nathan is missing it because his family treats him. The pattern is so clear to me. They take and take from Nathan, but never give back. During my entire pregnancy, not once did they offer to help. Not with setting up the nursery, not with meals, not with anything. Yet now that Melissa is pregnant, Nathan is expected to drop everything and build custom furniture. I'm trying not to be bitter, but come on. I feel stuck because I don't want to come between Nathan and his family. That's not my place. But I also can't stand watching him get taken advantage of while our daughter grows up without quality time with her dad. The medical bills are already forcing him to work overtime. The family obligations are taking what little remains of his free time. Thanks for reading all this. I genuinely don't know if I'm being unreasonable for putting my foot down about his family's constant demands, or if I'm justified in protecting our precious little family time. Now for the first update. I completed our taxes so my partner wouldn't have to build nursery furniture for his family. They showed up at our door for all. First of all, wow, I did not expect my post to blow up like this. Thank you all for the support and advice while I navigate this whole situation with my partner's family. It's been about a week since my last post, and things have escalated. After I completed our taxes, Nathan called his brother to explain he couldn't commit to building all the nursery furniture, but offered to help for one Saturday instead. When Nathan mentioned my concerns about family time, the conversation got heated enough that Nathan had to step outside. Apparently, Melissa had gotten on the phone crying about how they were counting on him and couldn't afford custom furniture. Nathan tried explaining about our medical bills and his limited time with the baby, but they weren't hearing it. I thought that would be the end of it. But the next morning, while Nathan was at work, his mother called Emmy directly. She spent 15 minutes lecturing me about how I was being selfish and preventing Melissa from having a proper nursery for her baby. When I tried bringing up my difficult pregnancy and how no one helped us, she said, well, that's in the past now. I ended up hanging up when the baby started crying, which she said was incredibly rude. A quick note. Many commenters pointed out that I shouldn't let Nathan off the hook since he's the one who needs to establish boundaries with his family. You were 100% right. This isn't really about furniture at all. It's about a pattern that's been going on his entire adult life. The whole situation has been really hard on Nathan. I can see him struggling, caught between supporting my boundaries and appeasing his family. He's been quiet and withdrawn, spending extra time holding our daughter when he gets home from work. My postpartum anxiety has gotten worse too. I'm having trouble sleeping even when the baby is resting. Then yesterday happened. I was at home with the baby when there was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I peeked through the window first. Standing on our porch were Nathan's mother, his brother James, and Melissa. I opened the door to find Melissa and Nathan's mother and brother. My anxiety spiked. I invited them in because what else could I do? Nathan's mom immediately went to the baby and picked her up without asking, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. She said she barely gets to see her grandchild. James started going on about all the times Nathan helped him growing up, how Nathan taught him to ride a bike, helped him with homework, and was always there for him. The implication was clear. I was destroying this lifelong supportive relationship between brothers. When I tried to explain about Nathan barely having time with his own daughter, Melissa cut me off. She started saying her pregnancy was different because she has severe back pain and they can't afford proper furniture for the nursery. I tried to explain that my pregnancy nearly killed me and my baby, but they all just talked over my attempts to explain our financial situation and Nathan's limited time with our daughter. Nathan walked in. He'd finished work early and found his family in our living room. I expected him to have my back, but instead, he tried to keep the peace. After about 20 minutes of back and forth, he offered a compromise. He'd spend 2 Saturdays helping with the nursery instead of the one day we'd discussed. His family left shortly after, with his mother making one last comment about how family should help family. Once they were gone, things got tense between me and Nathan. I felt completely betrayed by his partial capitulation, while he was frustrated that I couldn't see how torn he was. "I can't just cut them off," he said, rubbing his face. "They're still my family." I tried explaining that this wasn't just about furniture or even time. It was about establishing boundaries with people who consistently take without giving in return. His mother has used his father's abandonment as emotional leverage his entire life, making him feel responsible for everyone else's happiness. But he said he needed some time to think. Last night was rough. I slept in the nursery with the baby while Nathan took the couch. This morning was a little better. He brought me coffee and apologized for not fully having my back, but he's still planning to help with the nursery for those 2 Saturdays. I don't know how to make him understand that every time he gives in, they'll just keep pushing for more. I've been reading all your comments about boundaries and family dynamics, and I realize this is a much deeper issue than just a few weekends of furniture building. Nathan has spent his entire life being the responsible one, the fixer, the helper, and his family has spent just as long taking advantage of that. I don't want to come between him and his family, but I also need him to understand that our daughter deserves priority access to her father's limited free time. Those precious moments with her aren't something he can get back later. I'm trying to be patient while he works through this, but watching him continue this pattern is getting harder every day. The next few weeks will be crucial as we figure out how to establish healthier boundaries with his family. I'm considering suggesting we talk to my therapist together about this, since individual therapy has helped me so much with my anxiety. I'll update again when I know more about how the nursery situation plays out. Now for the second update. Update 2. Things have escalated since Nathan agreed to help his brother with nursery furniture despite our time constraints. The past 2 weeks have been very difficult. I honestly didn't think things could get worse, but here we are. Thank you all for your supportive comments on my previous posts. They've helped during this whole mess. Nathan ended up spending last Saturday at his brother's house building furniture while I stayed home alone with our daughter. He came back exhausted and barely said a word all evening. The tension between us has increased. I've been trying to give him space to process everything, but it's hard when I'm also dealing with a fussy 2-month-old and my worsening postpartum anxiety. On Monday, Nathan's cousin called to check on us. She's actually the only one in his family I genuinely like. During our conversation, she mentioned that Melissa has been telling family members that I'm selfish and don't want the baby to have a relationship with Nathan's side of the family. I couldn't believe Melissa was portraying me negatively when all I wanted was for my partner to have time with his own daughter. Nathan's mother has been calling daily asking when Nathan can help with various household tasks. She always includes comments about me controlling her son or changing him since we got together. Nathan usually takes these calls in another room now, but our place is small and I can still hear most of it. Not that I'm trying to eavesdrop, but come on. Yesterday, while organizing some paperwork during the baby's nap, I found our medical bills again. We still owe over $15,000 from the emergency C-section and NICU stay that saved both my and our daughter's lives. The amount still worries me. Nathan has been picking up extra shifts at work to cover these bills, coming home completely drained. He barely has time to hold the baby before collapsing into bed. I know some of you suggested setting up a GoFundMe in my last post, but Nathan is too proud for that. He says we'll manage on our own, even though it's clearly overwhelming him. This afternoon, while folding laundry, Nathan's phone showed texts from his mother. I wasn't snooping, I swear. The messages just appeared on his lock screen. They were about helping her replace her entire deck next weekend, another weekend away from us. Another project that would take Nathan's time from his daughter. When Nathan got home from work, I showed him the messages and asked if he was planning to tell me about this new commitment. The guilty look on his face conveyed his feelings. He admitted he hadn't figured out how to tell me yet. His mother had called him during his lunch break, going on about how she helped raise him after his father left when he was 8, and how he owed her for everything she'd done for him. I couldn't hold back anymore. I told him I knew about Melissa's comments to the family about me being controlling and selfish. I asked why he hadn't defended me, why he kept allowing his family to dominate us when we were drowning in medical debt and struggling with a newborn. His voice rose in frustration, something that rarely happens, as he told me he felt pulled in every direction, working overtime to pay our massive bills, trying to be there for his daughter, and dealing with family obligations that he feels tied to because of his childhood abandonment issues. It all came out. In a moment, Nathan revealed he fears becoming like his absent father. He said helping his family makes him feel needed and worthwhile, and that turning them down makes him feel like he's abandoning them the way his dad abandoned him. I'd never realized how deeply his father's absence had affected his sense of responsibility to others. I was crying by then, holding our now awake baby. I tried to make him understand that our daughter needs him, present more than his mother needs a new deck, or his brother needs custom furniture. That he's not his father. He's here, he's trying, but he's overextending himself so nobody is getting the best of him. After our argument, Nathan sat on the edge of the bed with his head in his hands. He finally admitted that he's been avoiding confrontation with his family his entire life. His mother has always used his father's abandonment as leverage, and he's never known how to stand up to that without feeling like he's betraying her. I swear, the more I learn about my mother-in-law's manipulation tactics, the angrier I get. Using your child's trauma to get free labor is just beyond low. We talked late into the night with the baby sleeping between us. Not safe sleep practices, I know, but it was just for a few minutes while we finished our conversation. I suggested we need to have a family meeting with clear boundaries. Nothing will change if we don't directly address the issue with everyone involved. Our daughter deserves priority access to her father's limited free time. That's non-negotiable. Nathan agreed to the meeting, but he's visibly anxious about confronting his family, particularly his mother. He spent his whole life trying to please her, and I know this won't be easy for him. We're planning to invite them over next weekend instead of Nathan going to build the deck. I'm nervous about this conversation too. Confrontation is so not my strong suit, especially with postpartum hormones still raging. But I'm determined to establish healthier patterns before our daughter is old enough to witness the dysfunction. She deserves better than watching her father being used by his family while we struggle financially and emotionally. Edit. Forgot to mention that I found out Nathan's brother and Melissa recently went on a weekend getaway to a luxury resort. Saw it on social media. So apparently they can't afford nursery furniture, but can afford vacations. Makes their manipulation even more frustrating. I'm still not sure if we're handling this situation the right way, but reading your comments has helped me feel less crazy about wanting to establish boundaries. Any advice on how to approach this family meeting would be greatly appreciated. Now for the final update. #final update. The family meeting happened, and I'm still processing everything that went down. First, thank you to everyone who's followed this saga and offered advice. Your support has truly been a lifeline during this incredibly difficult time. It's been about 2 weeks since my last update, and I finally have the mental energy to share how everything played out. Mini update before I continue. I started medication for my postpartum anxiety last week, and it's already making a huge difference in how I'm handling stress. My doctor was incredibly supportive and said it was long overdue given everything that's happened. Nathan and I spent several nights planning for the family meeting. We made a list of specific boundaries, including limiting his help to 1 weekend day per month and requiring at least 2 weeks' notice for any requests. I was honestly terrified about the whole thing, but watching Nathan practice what he wanted to say about being present for our daughter while still maintaining family relationships gave me hope. Never realized how attractive boundaries could be. Lol. We invited his mother, James, and Melissa over last Saturday afternoon. Nathan was busy all morning while I focused on keeping the baby content. When they arrived, Melissa was wearing a new watch despite their supposed financial struggles. The same people who couldn't afford nursery furniture suddenly had money for luxury accessories. Interesting timing. We all settled in our small living room, and Nathan's mother immediately commented that the house was a bit messy and suggested I might need help learning to manage a household. I felt embarrassed and angry, but before I could respond, something unexpected happened. Nathan spoke up. He calmly explained that we'd been busy managing over $15,000 in medical bills from the birth that nearly killed both me and our daughter. The room became silent as he pulled out our medical bills and placed them on the table. He went through specific instances when they had refused to help during my pregnancy, despite knowing about the complications, while contrasting it with all the help they'd been demanding from us. When his mother tried interrupting with her usual family helps family speech, Nathan stood his ground. I almost didn't recognize how confident he was. He explained that his primary family is now me and our daughter, and that he needed to prioritize us while working 60-plus hours weekly to cover our medical debt. I watched James look uneasy on the couch as Nathan outlined our new boundaries. Nathan stated he could help one weekend day per month with sufficient notice, but anything beyond that simply wasn't possible with his work schedule and parenting responsibilities. His voice remained steady the entire time. Honestly, so proud of him for not faltering even once. The calm discussion quickly deteriorated when Melissa tearfully accused me of turning Nathan against them. She started listing all the ways they had supposedly helped us, mostly exaggerated or completely fabricated situations, but Nathan cut her off firmly. He told her this was his decision alone, one he should have made long ago, and that blaming me was easier than acknowledging how one-sided their relationship had been. His mother became visibly angry. She stood up abruptly, declared they'd find someone else to help with her deck, and headed for the door. She said something about ungrateful children as she left. Classy exit, really. James looked conflicted, glancing between Nathan and the door, before suggesting maybe they could hire someone for the remaining nursery work. Melissa, still upset but seemingly chastened, offered a hesitant apology for not being more supportive during my pregnancy. It wasn't exactly sincere, but it was something. Baby steps, I guess. They left shortly after, with promises to talk more later that felt hollow but less hostile than I expected. After they left, Nathan just sat there with our daughter on his lap. He told me that standing up to his family was necessary, and thanked me for pushing him to prioritize our family. Seeing him hold our daughter while free from some guilt was worth all the drama. Not gonna lie, I cried a little. The aftermath has been surprisingly quiet. His mother hasn't called once, longest stretch of silence since the baby was born, and James texted to say they found an affordable furniture set online. Nathan's cousin called to say she was proud of him for setting boundaries. Apparently word traveled fast through the family grapevine. Nathan seems lighter somehow. He's been more present with our daughter, taking her for morning walks so I can shower, and spending his evenings just holding her, instead of checking his phone for family emergencies. He still struggles with guilt occasionally, but he's getting better at recognizing when his mother tries to manipulate him. Yesterday, I overheard him on the phone declining a request from his mother to help move furniture. He was kind but firm, suggesting a moving service and offering to research affordable options for her instead. When he hung up, he didn't even look stressed. This is huge progress from where we started. We're still figuring things out day by day. The medical bills aren't going anywhere, and Nathan is still working too many hours, but at least his free time is now spent with us instead of solving everyone else's problems. I'm learning to be more assertive about my needs, and he's learning that setting boundaries doesn't make him like his father. Our daughter turned 3 months old yesterday. She smiled at Nathan when he came home from work, and seeing him smile reminded me why all of this matters. This little family we've created deserves to be the priority, something I wish I had realized sooner. Edit. Several people have asked about my parents in previous posts. They live across the country and have their own health issues that prevent travel. They've been supportive in other ways. My mom video calls almost daily, and they send care packages when they can afford it. Not everyone has family nearby who can help, which makes it even more frustrating when those who are close choose not to. This chapter with Nathan's family drama seems to be closing, though I'm sure there will be new challenges ahead. Thank you to everyone who encouraged me to stand firm and support Nathan in finding his voice. Your advice truly helped us navigate this mess and come out stronger on the other side.